Thank you. The last concern was the parliamentary elections. Has it been clear?
Parliamentary elections should take place 4 months after the presidential elections, which means that it is the next phase that all coalition partners should prepare for. How it will be contested is yet to be negotiated. But I'm sure that once the coalition sets its house in order and assumes office, then most likely they will have to draw up a very effective division agenda to control the money.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you. KJ, I do apologize. I did not hear you come in. Next, I do have Yoro from Gainaco. Yoro?
Yes, Raila, how are you?
Thank you. I'm good.
Okay. Yeah, I do have some questions, but I'll just limit it to one for the sake of time. Halifa, how are you doing?
Would you kindly go ahead with your question?
Okay. Thank you. You touched on some of the questions that I had. What interested me most was the issue of reconciliation, which you have touched on, and I hate to preempt. But I just wanted to know, in your own thinking, what do you think the way forward will be in terms of closing some of the cases? Some of the atrocities have been done. What does the Constitution say about that? And what do you think it will take for the nation to heal where the one who was wrong is the need to understand it's time to move on and what will justice look like? Halifa, and before answering that question, I would just take the opportunity and to all of you and to all the best and even those who did something to effect the change. And I thank you for coming to talk to the media. Assalamu alaikum.
Yes, I think we have looked at that. I believe if you look at the manifesto, those things were being addressed. As we moved to build the coalition, we started by creating committees on democracy, rule of law, committees on human rights and justice, and they looked at all these issues. That is why we came to build a manifesto on the basis of well-founded facts that we gathered from the ground. And therefore,
you there?
Yes, sir.
You have a shot at second chance.
Thank you. Mr. Halifa Salla, you mentioned physical discipline during the first 60 days, including balance and earnings and expenditure. What can the new government do to ensure that the previous government's waste of resources will be accounted for, and all those involved will be also held accountable, including the sitting president's gap at the moment?
I didn't get your last question.
So you mentioned physical discipline during the first 60 days earlier, and including balance in earnings and expenditure. So what can new government do to ensure the public that anyone that was involved in when so forth will be held accountable, and all the resources that we wasted will also be accounted for?
Yes, these are issues. What many people got wrong in many countries, they come about talking about corruption and fighting corruption, but they are all words. And at the end of the day, you ask yourself, what corruption did they fight? It is all because what is important is not to be presumptive that something wrong had taken place. Concretely take over government and then concretely see facts that would require you to talk to people and then to develop systems of how to deal with those challenges. So we do not start with the rhetoric. We are going to concretely start with taking over a government, owning a government, seeing its mistakes, knowing how to rectify it, and on the basis of ensuring that at the end of the day, we create a society which is transparent, which is accountable, which will ensure that people really respect the institutions and systems that we put in place, and that those who lived in the past will be treated in such a way that their mistakes do not excluding them from ever having to live a decent life in the country. We want to rehabilitate. We will rectify, but we will also use measures that will rehabilitate people so that they continue to become part of our societies and contribute their quota.
Thank you, Honorable Salla. I am going to give Babu a second chance. Babu?
Thank you, Myler. Thank you, Mr. Salla, and thank you to my colleagues for asking the brilliant questions that they are. Mr. Salla, during the Gambian presidency, and I'm still sure that we are in it, got some few weeks to do away with it. There was this environment of the philosophy of a need-to-know basis, which curtailed the importance of transparency between the governed and the ones that govern. In the meantime, GRTS is an institution that was very effective in making sure the propaganda of the government, as far as what policies they wanted to ensure the people knew about, and how much of that policy they wanted to talk about, and what they wanted to avoid. We saw an instrument and a tool like GRTS become very effective. At this moment, Gambians, I'm sure, would be focused on a bi-directional relationship between the transition team or the coalition team's efforts in trying to transition into a new Gambia, and would have perhaps wanted to know how is it and what structures are based to where, for example, some of the decisions that you were making on our behalf before you actually realize the transition of power, the successful transition of power. How so can the Gambian people get involved, and in which manner and what structures do you have in place? For example, do you have a website that people can go in and then submit their concerns? Would you use GRTS not to be only bi-directional, but to actually allow citizens to have access to GRTS and actually start talking about especially inside of Gambia, what their take is as you guys develop the plans of transition.
But when you talk about transition, government is an institution with many ministries, we have policies, plans, programs, we have projects. So essentially, transitional agenda or transitional team is a team doing an inventory of success. It is really trying to understand what was, what is, and what is to be transferred. So it's a technical engagement. Now, as you move to know everything, then you begin to give back to new institutions, new ministries, etc., starting with the creation of the cabinet, the establishment of the cabinet. Then, of course, you begin to involve the people in a different way. They may have developed strategic plans without consultation, policies without consultation, laws without consultation. Well, the new dispensation means that you tell people what you have inherited, and you tell people what needs to be done, and people have their input in the building of the new.
Thank you. Thank you, Honorable Salla. Yoro Jallo, you are next for second round.
Well, I think we should.
Yes, Halifa, I'll go with two more questions and we will wrap up if that is okay with you. Can I come in? Yoro is not here in my office. Give me 1 second, Pa. You'll come in for after I have two people in front of you. Okay. Yamunda Ustad, are you there? Yamunda? No, she's not. How about Tejo?
Yeah, sure. Yeah, sure. Keja Ishmaila, please, come on. Thank you again, Honorable Halifa. Can I? Yeah, thank you.
Please, go ahead.
Thank you. Yeah, about the political prisoners, Honorable, is there a speedy action being taken by the new government coming in to ensure that Dabo and the others and all political prisoners, for that matter, are freed as soon as possible. And about the security positions, we understand transitional plans are in place, but our concerns are that Jammeh and his family and friends are in key security positions as of now. Our plans afoot to ensure that the concerns of Gambians is put to rest. Thank you, sir.